Thank you for joining the Soul Sisters Cafe. Hey, Tracey. It's good to be back with you.
So always so delicious to be here with you, my friend.
Well, we just finished recording a podcast on the changes that you've seen in yourself. One of them where you're not worrying as much. Mm-hmm. One where a relationship that you have is changing. And the middle one, what was that?
How I made something not like what meaning am I? Mm-hmm.
Right. We discussed how we have these circumstances in our life and people say things and do things. And then we interpret that and give that a meaning and assign a meaning to that can be painful or can be calm inducing. And those were all fantastic changes. We went through the before Tracey and the after Tracey, or the before and the now Tracey. And at the end of that, you said that there was some kind of shocking fallout from those experiences. So for as amazing as they are, what's going on? And I don't really even know much about what you're going to say. So I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Surprise. We think, oh my gosh, I want to get to this place where I have this inner peace, where things can happen and they don't rock my world. I can just love through them. To me, that seems like that would just be the panacea. Like, oh my God, that would be the cat's meow. That would be so lovely. And now I've had so many experiences of these kind of challenges and being able to really love myself through them, love the other person through them, to see the worry for what it is. It's fear. It's not even happening. I don't even know what's really I'm fear of the future, worry of the future. And I was talking to a very good friend here where I live in North Carolina, and I was sharing with her the two situations that I'd shared in our previous podcast. And I realized I'm sharing them from a point of wanting to connect. I'm sharing them because she's got some challenges, some worries and stuff. And so I'm trying to bring up two things that came up that could possibly be challenges that really I navigated through them. I figured it out. I was fine with them. They were a blip on the screen. And as I'm sharing these two things, I'm realizing I'm wanting to make these more upsetting on my behalf so that I could connect.
Oh.
I know, right? So I could connect. And afterwards, I was like, what she said to me was, so nice to hear you say those things because I don't want you to ascend. Which cracked me up. Oh, she makes me laugh. But I was like,
so nice of you, so nice to hear that you
had these challenges. I didn't really go into, I didn't give the full story of how they were okay. How I saw my mom in love. We had to get off the phone kind of quickly. And so she didn't get the full story. And I realized I didn't want to give her the full story.
Oh.
Okay. A little withholding going on.
So can you dive into that? Why what you think she would have thought? So you're projecting what you think she would have thought.
Yes, we just come off a phone call where she was sharing all these frustrating things with her that were worry and this and that. And then I wanted to show her how similar I was to her. That I wanted her to know I could relate to her, or I had these experiences. Because I was afraid. I was afraid that I would not be able to connect with her with giving her the full picture of how actually these two turned out to be. I mean, all of them were really lovely, but I was afraid.
Are you saying if you have you're thinking if I don't share similar life experiences, or if I seem to be doing better than you, or I'm not suffering like you are, then we are not going to be able to connect. And that's going to have a bad influence on our relationship.
Yes.
And so like we're connecting in our suffering, or we're connecting in our worry.
Yes. Yes. I love that you do this for me so much, Jordan. Here's my ball of yarn. I have this ball of yarn. And you go, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, yes, totally. We connect in relationships. And you and I have done this for eons. We have connected through our suffering. We have gnashed our teeth. We have had
over bosses,
of hours.
Over relationships, over mothers.
Yep.
Right.
Work, career, everything. Anything you can gnash.
Yep.
Jobs, totally.
Yep.
And I realized this morning, so again, it was kind of one of those things that was pretty fast, you know, and then she had to get off the phone, and I was like, I think I just didn't even really want to tell her the whole thing of that. And then when she said, oh, good, I'm glad that you have that, because I don't want you to ascend, joking, ha ha. And of course, you know, like, I don't even know what that really means, but it scared me.
Right.
Like that, I was like, oh shoot, I don't want her to think that I'm any different, any better, any worse, anything. I want to stay friends. And so I realized this morning in my meditation, and you and I have experienced this, where I would say something and or I wouldn't say something and you'd be like, I didn't even know that. And I would be like, I didn't want to share it because I didn't want you to feel bad. Right? It's like, oh my gosh, I am seeing this. And then I was thinking about...
Which is a total prediction that the only outcome is that I can feel bad. In the infinite array of responses or outcomes, you were predicting one. Only one seemed like the viable outcome.
It actually seems like the only possible. Like my mind did not even go that you would think, oh, there's possibility. Oh, that's really cool. Oh, I'm happy for my friend. I did not, until you and I actually talked about it back then. I was like, there was no other possibility.
Do you remember the specifics of that? Because I think that would be helpful. What that was?
Because I don't remember what the specifics were. I think, no. But you remember?
I remember, one thing that I remember is that we weren't talking as much or as frequently. And I think you were going through a big spiritual inquiry, discovery for yourself. Happiness is your birthright. And as you were going through it, I don't think you were sharing that much. And maybe...
Oh, right.
I was miserable at that time, perhaps?
Yes.
And you felt like...
Totally.
Oh, how can I say I am realizing that happiness is my birthright, and every single day I feel one more degree of happiness while I'm like, wah, wah. I mean, it was...
Yes.
And so, do you want to say your side? Because I can say my side, like in reality, so we can explore this.
Well, that is my side. I don't want... Here I am.
Okay.
You know, my marriage is like totally turned around. I'm digging on my husband. It's, the kids can do what, they can live their lives, and I'm at peace with it, whatever that is. And it's all, it's just so many things that I used to gnash my teeth about and around were delightful. And so much ease in my life and so much inner peace and all of that thing, and standing in it and seeing, oh my gosh, here I would have given away my power, and now I'm standing in my truth. There was so much of that, and you were really struggling. So my point was, from my perspective, was I don't want to lose Jordan. I don't want to have her feel bad. And so I'm just going to listen to what's going on. So I'm going to ask a lot of questions so that I don't have to share all this goodness. I know she's rolling her eyeballs.
Oh my God. Wow.
Because then I don't have to be outed.
So so you're believing if I'm doing better than her, if I'm happier than her, if I'm having a success that she's not having, so the success of feeling good or whatever it is, then I risk losing my friend.
I risk making my friend feel bad.
And so that will make my friend feel bad.
And I don't want that.
And I don't want that. And then if I make my friend feel bad, she probably won't want to continue being my friend.
Right.
It's two-step process.
Yeah. Yeah. Like the first one, I can't even go to step 2 because the first one would be too awful.
Right.
To have my friend feel bad.
Right.
But yeah.
I don't want to make her feel bad.
Uh-huh.
So from my side, and we can totally relate. That's why that joke is so painful, from that joke, quote unquote joke from your friend of, oh, I'm glad because I don't want you to ascend. And frankly, I can relate to her point of view of, because I've had friends who seem to be more entrepreneurial and have more success entrepreneurially. And it does feel threatening. I think part of it threatens my belief system, because if they can do it, then probably I can do it, but I'm not doing it. And so what's up with that? And there's just a certain level of comfort. She's in the same zone as me. Mm-hmm. And I basically do want someone to agree with me. And then I guess I would feel like less comfortable complaining or less comfortable bemoaning my situation, because their life is giving me evidence to the contrary. I think friendship, there is kind of an agreement, right? We're gonna agree to complain about the same things. Mm-hmm. We're gonna agree to kind of have the same point of view. Mm-hmm. I think a lot when you're talking about this friend of yours, of like Democrats and Republicans. Like when you're in the room with someone who is on the opposite side of the aisle than you politically, a lot of times you don't want to say, because you don't want to upset. It feels like you're going to upset that apple cart. And perhaps that's a maturation process of relationships and friendships that we as a planet can go through. Can we do that? Okay, so that's slightly different conversation, but so in that situation, what I felt with you and I, going back to you and I, is holy crap, I was struggling too. I don't think that my feelings would be hurt necessarily, but I might be like, wait a bit. She's advancing. She's ascending. Oh Lord. Oh shit. She's leaving me behind. Right? We've compared against each other.
Oh yes, absolutely.
For years. Mm-hmm. So that would be fear. And that would be what we might refer to as small self. That would be my ego, being worried about that. So what I felt when I was like, what the heck? You were going through this whole big experience. Why didn't you share that with me? What you were alluding to earlier is that, oh my gosh, that could have been, and then I was pissed about it a little irritated, because maybe you could have helped me get up there faster. Like you could have extended a hand, right? I think sorry. A little bit. A little bit, just kind of, come on, here you go. Could have extended a hand, and your example could have exhibited possibility for me. How the hell did you go up a few steps? How did you get 2 or 3 more degrees of happiness? How did you resolve something in your relationship? How did you create freedom for yourself? Please, of anyone that I'm going to listen to, explain that to me, because I know the before, and you're telling me you have a new after, and like increments, the possibility that you would show for me. So if I think of the macro part, and now that could have been my ego talking too, saying, what the hell? Why did you leave me in the dust? Or why weren't you helping me along the way? But I know we were at a workshop later. We were at the Matt Kahn workshop, and you took a risk and you said something. And I went, oh, I don't remember the exacts, but I went, oh, that's how you saw that? And you said, yeah. And I was like, oh It was possibility. It was something I hadn't seen before. And there you were, living, breathing this new perspective on something. And you said to me, I remember that you said, see, there's a moment that I didn't want to say what was true for me.
Yes.
And then I just had the experience of you going, that shows me a possibility. And I see what you're saying, that if I live my truth, if I don't conform, and if I'm authentic, that I make a possibility for you, for someone else, not just for me, but for someone else, right? So you could be yourself and you make a possibility for someone else to ascend. And their ego, what part of them is saying, I'm great because I don't want you to ascend, because I want you to stay with me in the basement with all of our worries and concerns. Do you have anything to add to that, or?
Yeah, right. It seems like, of course, you would want to be so I would think it's all so lovely to be able to actually feel all these different things, and I am wanting to tread very lightly. And I realize as you're talking that what just came to me was we always have to stand in the truth of to stand in our own truth. And how other people receive it, just like how I receive it, is from you. If you say something to me, how I receive it is for me. If you say to me, Tracey,
I just won the lottery.
Yes. I just want how I receive that is how I receive that. It is for us.
Right. And what you mean by that is like if you say, oh shit, now she has a ton more money than me, or oh my gosh, that's amazing, I'm so thrilled for her. Or
and it could be both.
Any other variety. Right. Yeah, it could be 1 second, the next second. 1 second.
Could be. It could be both, because I've had both. I mean, I've had both with you. You'll have this fantastic insight. Text me about this fantastic insight that you had, even like last week. It's like I'm both people at one time. I'm so delighted, so excited, and like, oh my God, there. And then I have my small self, my fear kick in and go, what if she ends up not loving you? Oh, well, there's that. Yes, we actually did a whole podcast on this incredible insight about how you claimed your worth. You knew who you were. You are an aspect of the divine in form. We had a whole podcast on that. And there are two people experience. It's like, I feel like sometimes I have this person who I have the truth, which is the love. Yes, go ahead. You go, girl.
Well, okay. So when you are worried,
yes,
about expressing your full truth,
yes,
and the impact that you think that could have on a friendship,
yes,
what part of you is worried about that?
Right. So there's nothing loving about that. And like, even when I was talking to her yesterday, I realized I'm looking for a way to make to not be who I am. I'm looking, because, it's so fear. That's what it is. It is just complete and utter fear to shine, to have who I am be okay. And maybe it's not shine, because sometimes it's not pretty. Whatever. Just the fear of just not being okay. And that is totally rooted in fear.
What's coming up for me is, I have a massive intrigue about the Marianne Williamson quote, which is, who am I not to shine?
I had that. I have. Yeah. You say the quote. Do you have the quote? I have it.
No. Do you have it?
I have it. Yes. It was just texted to me.
It was just texted to you?
This morning. Yep.
Wow. That's how we roll, people. People text us telepathically, so we have it exactly when we need it, just a few hours later.
It's just so, it is. Bam. We were totally. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us.
I have been intrigued by that for a long time. I'm wondering if part of that, it's our light that scares us, is part of what we think the ramifications of being in the light
Amen.
We're going to be on an island saying she's a freak of nature. She talks about Christ consciousness. She's about divinity all the time. And she doesn't get freaked out when her kid doesn't text her for 7 days. What's wrong with her? And I don't want to hang out with her. And she's ascending and I just can't relate to her. So I'm going to stay with all my friends who are not ascending.
Oh my God. Yes.
It's the ramifications of being in the light.
That
we think they are.
For the first time, I was like, I think I know what that quote means. I think I understand that, because the second part of this, can I go to the second part?
Yeah, do it.
The second part is, what kind of mother am I? What kind of person am I? So I'm going to go back to worrying about my kid who didn't text us when he was in a separate country, that things could have gone awry. What kind of mother does not worry about her kid like that? What kind of mother?
So what's your answer to that?
What kind of person am I? What's that?
So what's the low answer to that? What's the fear answer to that? What is like that word?
I know, because I have it. That I'm uncaring, that actually, you know what? One of the things that came to me this morning is that I'm like a psychopath. Like, I'm not joking. Like, there's something wrong with me, and I have somebody sucked out the feeling. Somebody sucked out this inherent important trait of loving so much that you get sick with worry. I mean, I've had it. Like, I could totally go to, oh my God, but I have. I lost so much weight over worry one time. I had a friend look at me and go, you are beyond yourself, Tracey. Because I was so worried. So I know I'm capable of it. Because I was sick. Oh, yeah. I would seriously worried myself sick. Mm-hmm. But my brain doesn't, it's to hold on to that is work. What it wants to think is, see what an awful mother you are. See, there's something wrong with you. There's an inherent gene that's missing. It's defective. You're a defective mother. I mean, it's very mean. It is very, very mean. That's what it goes to. That's what I heard this morning. It sounds crazy. I know people are probably going like, wow, that's pretty intense. But it's the pull.
I think if you have some
mothers who
Yeah. The stuff we do in our minds is pretty intense.
Yeah, and if I was a good mom, I would worry myself sick, and something is wrong with me, and yeah. So that's where I.
Okay, so which part is driving the bus there? High self or low self?
Totally, so much fear. Low, so low self.
So have you walked yourself out of it, or where are you? Are you still questioning? No. Have you resolved that for yourself?
I have.
How did you do that? Or what did you come to? What was your resolution?
What I came to was, so even with my son worrying, with when I saw my mom, when my mom had, like, what kind of, so the other part, like, okay, so motherhood, right? That one totally was like, I can get there. I mean, I so went there. And the other was, what kind of friend? What kind of person am I? What kind of person am I that when their mom texts, that text from the previous one, like my mom wrote a text that says you weren't burdened like I was in college with kids. What kind of person does that not upset? What kind of person am I that's not upsetting to me? What kind of person am I that when their friend says, oh God, that was just, you just can be a lot of work. What kind of friend doesn't, what kind of person, not what kind of friend, what kind of person does not get upset at these things? I'm not getting upset at these things that would normally upset people, upset me. What's wrong with me? Mm-hmm. I am an unfeeling monster. There's something, that's what I went to with all of it. It was like a big package, just special delivery present for me.
Got it. Okay. So we know where you went with it.
So that's where I went, was all of it. And then I'm like, okay, well, that's not true. That's all fear. That's a lot of fear going on. And
what's not true? That's not true. What's that?
Thank you. What is not true is that I am a good friend. I'm a good person. I'm worthy. I am a beautiful, loving, wonderful. I I am an aspect of the divine. I am a part of the creator. That is who I am. So if I just go there, that's the truth. That is what I know the truth is. The rest is all fear outside of that, that none of that is true. And then what I was able to come to, which was so beautiful.
That was the action of fear trying to recreate itself.
Yes, that.
And it was successful, right?
Oh my God, it was powerful.
It created a lot more of itself.
A lot. Yeah, I was like, wow, I had no idea. There was so much fear around it. So what I came to was, there's a phrase, I looked through the eyes of God. And I am not God, obviously, because I'm here struggling with all this stuff. But the idea is that...
But you're an aspect of God that can be created in a human form.
Correct. And God has very loving eyes. So what I came to is that I was looking through the eyes of God, through the eyes of the Creator in all of those situations.
So what did you see then?
So I saw my mom, who wrote this thing about being the children being a burden, as I love her. Yes, she went through so much, and oh, she's so beautiful. She's so perfect. And what I saw was my friend who said that, who was exasperated, who's different, who is beautiful in her own perfection. That's who I got to see her as, and the whole situation as perfection.
The friend who said sometimes you're a lot of work, or it's so hard with you.
Yeah, so hard, yes. And then the worry with my son, who didn't keep in touch with us while he was in these countries, and the fear of that could have been debilitating, could have been paralyzing. I saw it through the eyes of the Creator, which is, it's all perfect. It is all, whatever's happening is going to be perfect, and I just have love for him and whoever's the prison guard in the prison.
if that should be happening.
If that should be happening. Which it wasn't. But that's where I was in that moment after it was going on. So what I came up with was, right, in these situations, it's not abnormal. It's actually it is our inheritance. Everybody's inheritance to be able to see.
Divine inheritance.
Divine inheritance, sorry, thank you. It is our divine inheritance to be able to see, this is the normal way to see, not normal, but this is the truth, because love is truth. Truth is love. They're one. So all that freak out upset, I could see each of those moments for the truth of who was actually witnessing the situation, was Tracey standing there and I was seeing each situation through love, which is our divine inheritance. We are love. That is who we are. You, me, and every single other soul on the face of this planet.
Can I ask a question?
Millions. Mm-hmm.
So with the projected ideas of the ramifications of being in the light, so when you project, oh my gosh, maybe the friend that said, oh great, I'm glad you're not ascending, I don't want you to ascend, or the ramification of changing a relationship that you have in the future where you don't know, you literally don't know, and you are in the unknowing of that. How do you look upon that now? That, worry of what could happen in the future?
I think that's, like one of those times where I'm going to have to choose to remember it. I know that there are going to be times when I'm going to want to shrink back, that I'm not going to want to say how I see it, a situation, or I'm going to want to get into a conversation and maybe share the event, but not share the whole event so that it looks like there was a struggle for me. I do believe that those are going to come up, and it's remembering and choosing that who I am is perfect, just the way I am. And so are they, to honor and stay true to myself, because as I honor and stay true to my own self, that is the only way I can invite another human to do it. So I believe in the bigger picture in the sense that I am not serving anybody. If I shrink away what I'm saying to that other soul, to that other person, the soul would know differently, but to that other energetic human being is shrink. It's okay. But if I stand always in my truth, I am now then energetically allowing that other person to stand in theirs, and they might judge me.
Mm-hmm. And have fear too.
And have fear, yeah. And they might
also say, oh my gosh, she just sent me an invitation to a higher frequency party. And yes, I'm going to RSVP to that party. Thank you. I don't get many invitations like this.
And they could, and she could, and they could, and all that stuff.
Right.
And it is never my job, right, to, I can only stand in the truth of who I am.
Right.
And be true to that. And however those chips fall, that's where it goes. Whatever the future looks like, and I'm going to forget. I'm going to forget, and I'm going to get freaked out. I'm going to think, oh, they're going to think I'm too ascendish or too spiritual, and I don't want to lose my friends. Oh, I can see that as fear. So I get to choose then in that moment to say, okay, there's fear. So what's the truth for me? There's fear, or whatever it is. There's a fear creation, and then just slow it down. Because when there is fear, I'm usually fast. I'm usually just flying through all the horrible things that are going to happen or the scenarios. And then it's just time to stop and notice. It's really the first step is the awareness. Hopefully for me, because I'm going to do it. I know it.
When you talked about envisioning your son in a prison being tortured. So another version of that, just these scary horror movies, right, is this lovely friend of mine losing this lovely friendship that I've had with a person. And so let's say a person says she's too ascendy or whatever, or she's like, I cannot handle that light. That little light of yours, no, don't let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine. Dim it, dim it, dim it. Let it dim, let it dim, let it dim. So let's say you have a friend that does that and they're like, I'd rather just hang out with these other people.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in hanging out with you anymore, which is kind of a worst case scenario, which could be painful should that ever materialize. Mm-hmm. But how do you sit knowing that that's a possibility and you're saying, I want to stay in my authenticity. Do you have anything to add there where if that were to come to pass, or how you're being okay with that being a possibility?
Yeah, the thing that I came up with this morning is that I'm safe.
Oh. And
that's something that has held me for the past couple of years, is I'm safe no matter what. And when I say safe, I mean emotionally safe. I'm that if nobody decided if everybody said, I don't want to be friends with her, like, let's just take it down, like she is crazy and my husband doesn't want to be married to me. My kids don't like me. My friends say I'm the worst. She's too crazy. Like that would really be horrible. And what comes to me, what feels so true and yummy in me is that I'm safe. I'm safe through any of it. And I think that is my faith and my belief that this is all a perfect creation and orchestration and requirement for my growth, that I have that faith, I have that trust that no, I don't know what's good and bad. I just know that this is a situation. Some feel better, some feel worse, but who am I to judge it? I'm not God, and I'm safe through it because I don't know what the next is, just like with the prison. And so if I lose all my friends, it's going to be horrible. Wouldn't be no fun. And I'm safe. That's the thing that just keeps coming back. I've had so many challenging experiences over the last few years, and being able to feel safe through them, I know I can be safe through these really bad times.
You said emotionally safe. Can you describe what that means to you? Can you explain anything that contributed to you getting to that feeling that you would be emotionally safe? I know you've described some of those, but anything else you can add?
Marriage would be the best one. That, I was like, okay, I'm totally in my marriage. It was we've been together for 30, how long have we been together?
30-ish.
30-ish years, 30-ish, we'll do 30-ish. And 20-ish of those were challenging, were hard, were not fun. Fun moments, but a lot of not easy and not so fun. And it was realizing, okay, I have kids and I can't do it like this anymore. I can't be married unhappily anymore. And nobody's wrong for that. The safe part is that nobody's wrong. I think part of being safe is that there's nobody to blame. It's that this is okay. If we break up and we don't work it out, he's perfect, just the way he is. If my friends all leave me, they're perfect just the way they are. Mm-hmm. And so am I. And I think that's the safe part, is because I'm not holding on to blaming anybody. It just...
Or worried that you're going to be blamed.
Or worried that I'm going to be blamed. I know. I mean, in some regards, I am going to be blamed. And I'm safe. I don't need to own that. That's somebody else's choice to blame or to judge. That is, just like it's my choice. I can choose to blame and judge all I want. So I'm safe. I'm safe in that if they judge me, if they blame me, it's okay. There's so much safety in that.
Because you know you're not going to blame yourself and you're not going to blame them.
Right.
And if you do, you'll catch it.
Right. And I will.
And you'll work through it.
Because I'm human. So I would say that safe is that for me. Maybe that's freedom, but it feels safe that no matter what happens, I'm going to love through it. No matter what happens, I'm going to love through it. And that, to feel safe and loving in the face of great adversity and great challenges, like my marriage possibly crumbling, that is beautiful. So if I can feel safe after almost 20 some odd years and thinking we're done and nobody's to blame and I'm okay, I'm going to be okay through all of this. It didn't work out like that. He's delicious. But that was my biggest experience, my first and biggest experience of it. Mm-hmm. So does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It seems counterintuitive. I must be afraid of it crumbling, and because this is where all my safety is in this marriage and in this structure that society has told me is where all the safety is, and it's in having a man validate me and be in a relationship, et cetera, et cetera. But that by redefining safety for yourself and finding true safety and knowing that you're not going to blame someone, and it's okay if they blame you, and you're not going to blame yourself, and you're going to love yourself, and you're going to love them through it, period, whatever circumstances may come, that allowed you to even come through or step your way forward in a completely different way. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You probably wouldn't have made it through if you hadn't done that step and been able to create your own safety.
I would have done more of what I had done for the 20 some odd years of it. I would have just been doing more of that, which was no fun, but no judgment. Took me a while. We think that when we become these loving people, I will say, I thought I would become very loving and everything would be easy. And I would have inner peace and everything would be easy. And that is not the case. It was surprising to me, which is why I think it blindsided, like I just didn't even see it, because it's so shocking. You would think inner peace, feeling love for people, being safe, feeling safe if your kid's in some prison that you're afraid of. You would think that all that is so good, and yet I was terrified of it. It is an expectation that when I'm free from worry and all these things, which I'm still not, right, because I still was, that my life is going to look a particular way. And it's just another way for me to grow.
It totally is. I love what the guides say in the Paul Selig books, that there will be rubble on the way to striking, let's say, the well of unconditional love. There will be rubble to contend with, and stuff will come up. So you're getting to contend with the ideas of how you connect with people and how authentic you're really going to be. And are you going to adhere to the belief that says, don't let someone know you're doing better than them, quote unquote, in any particular way. Stay on their frequency. Don't rise above their frequency. Don't shine your light. So you're contending with all of that coming up, which you don't have to contend with when you're just you and your friends are kind of in an equal frequency.
Yeah. Fear, worry, scared, scarcity.
Yep.
All those.
And so there are definitely things to contend with, but we think that the spiritual enlightened life is going to be smooth sailing, but there's a lot of things to contend with.
Yes, exactly. So it was a little bit of a shocker. I do have a question for you. Through this and kind of what I've shared, has anything resonated or anything that you can think of that you want to add to this, or a situation or perspective from you?
I can relate to all of it. When I was like, hey, how come you couldn't have lent me a hand up and let me know as you were ascending all those steps? Could you have let me known that you were doing that? Because I was here on the bottom step and would have liked to walk up the staircase with you. But that's even like my sassy ego saying like, don't leave me back, and you should help me. Friends should help.
Right.
So I can totally relate to that friend that said, I don't want you to ascend, which gives the friend who's on that side of it the opportunity. That's an opportunity for growth for that person, for me.
Yes.
To say, look at me not wanting someone else to walk up the staircase. Look at me not wanting someone to be in the light because I'm afraid of where I'm at. It's kind of shadowy down here, and I'm not sure if I ever get into the light. So I can relate to being on the other side of that equation and feeling like the earth is like shaking, and I don't understand this relationship with this person when they are different. I can totally relate to that.
Yeah.
And that is just a requirement for growth for me in those moments.
Right.
I can totally relate to not wanting to be your authentic self out of fear of the ramifications, or just using the word God, source, creative. Not wanting to be like that airy fairy person, not wanting to offend people with the word God, And yet on the other side of it is what I said to you. The person that does that makes a possibility for the other person. So yes, you give me so many other possibilities when you are your true self, because we know we have authenticity meters. And if we see someone meet a challenge, rise to a challenge, move through a challenge, and of course we all have challenges ourselves, it's like, oh my God, that's possible. I understand that dynamic too. So what I would say I've expressed so far is really a fear-based way of looking at it. But then if we go for love-based, what if, oh my God, that really cool documentary, Mully, in Africa.
If you haven't seen it, let's just tell everybody about it. It's a documentary the name of it is Mully, Mully. It's delicious, outstanding. I don't know. I loved it. What did you think, Jordan?
Yeah, it was outstanding. It's about a man who follows the voice of God that he hears and makes a tremendous difference in the lives of many, many orphans on the streets in Africa. And his wife said, they asked her, where do you see yourselves in 5 years? And she says, I see people coming to us and asking us how we did it and using us as a model so that they can do it in other parts of the world. Right. Now, what if Mully had said, I'm not going to do it because I don't want to shine my light and I'm too afraid of what people are going to say. He walked away from a very successful financial life, etc.
He was a millionaire.
Or what my kids think of me, and they went through a process, right? All requirements for growth for everyone involved, but they now stand as an amazing example and as an amazing model of what is possible. We do make a possibility when we stand in our own authenticity, and when we see a true story, or not just a true story, but someone we know, and we see a true passageway, we see a true growth that happened in them, then it calls to that part of us, and then we know something is possible for us. And just think about all the people in your life that stand in possibility. What if they weren't willing to? So on the other side, I feel like that is definitely the call of love
Yes.
And so there may be ramifications, and that's okay. That would be something for me to contend with. So for example, I'm going to say God, and I'm just going to say the way I feel. And some of my points of view seem out there and airy-fairy, but I'm willing to say them. And what gives me faith is that there's someone out there like me, or like me a year ago or a couple of years ago, for whom they go, oh my gosh, right, I forgot about God. Or it's okay to say God, or it's okay to even think of a creator in my life and to begin a relationship with that force. And it's okay to come from love and to realize that when I have a fear of losing my friends, I'm willing to step forward. I'm willing to step forward and not stay at the same frequency.
Yes.
Have I made sense? Or can you clarify any of that?
Beautiful. Yes. And it completely reminds me, I know I have seen people who use the word God, and I'm like, how do they do that? How do they do that? Oh my gosh, look at them do that. And they are a possibility for me. They have been.
Right.
Possibility for me. For them to stand in their truth. Many people might think they're crazy or weird. Marianne Williamson, who I just think is the cat's meow. So many of these people, they stand there, and that is their truth. That is their platform. There you go. Sometimes doing what's within us to do may not just be the easiest path, but I know that the path of trying to be somebody other than who I am,
and to dim your light,
is very painful. It's very lonely. It's very depressing,
right.
And it's very hard, very hard. So if I'm going to contend with something, I would much rather contend as the woman I stand in today. Personally.
Well said. Love it. Love it. Can't wait till we are together on another podcast. Thank you for today.
Thank you, my friend. Love you so much. And all of you all. Love you all. Bye.
Love ya. Bye.